After combining the votes from YouTube and the Tom's Guide website, I can exclusively reveal,
Oh my God.
with 59% of the vote.
Okay, come on. Hello and welcome back to Handheld Showdown, our bracket-style competition pitting the best handheld gaming consoles available right now in 2025 against each other. And we've made it to the final. In the last episode, we revealed to you the final four and asked you to vote on which should advance. And today, we've got those results.
A big thank you to those who participated. Once again, thousands of votes have been cast across both tomsguide.com and our YouTube channel. And once we reveal the results today, Paul and I will give our final reasons as to who we think should be crowned the 2025 Handheld Showdown champion.
Tony, you've had a week to think about these matchups. Do you think the right devices made it to the final four?
Yeah, I think so. These are the cream of the crop, the best of the best, and I'm really excited to see who makes it to the final two.
Okay, are you ready to find out who's made it to today's final? Facing off first in the final four were the ASUS ROG Ally X and the MSI Claw 8 AI Plus, two Windows devices, one from last year, one from this year. Tony, you had to make the case for the ASUS ROG Ally X, but I think in the end we were both in lockstep and think that the MSI Claw 8 was the better device. But which do you think the audience went with?
Okay, even though we did say the MSI Claw is the better device, I have an inkling feeling that the ROG Ally is going to win, just because everybody loves that handheld so much. It's been around the longest. You know, the ROG Ally itself, not just the X, but the X is a better version of it. So I think that's going to possibly squeak out a victory here. Yeah, this is going to be exciting.
All right, after combining the votes from YouTube and the Tom's Guide website, I can exclusively reveal,
Oh my God.
with 59% of the vote,
Okay, come on. Come on.
the ASUS ROG Ally X defeats the MSI Claw 8 Plus.
I'm not
and
surprised.
advances.
No.
Not surprised. Very close though, but I'm not surprised by that. That's a lot of love for it, bro. Sorry, MSI Claw, we love you. You're actually probably the better handheld, but the people have spoken. Paul, you okay?
No.
You good?
No.
No?
I was not expecting that.
I'm not surprised, but I am surprised by how close. I thought it was going to be like a clean victory.
Really? So
Yeah.
you thought the ASUS was going to get even more of a...
Yeah, I thought it was going to be like maybe 75 to 25.
Can you give us the breakdown between the website and our YouTube poll?
Yeah, kind of interestingly, the breakdown as it stood is on YouTube, the MSI Claw took a 60% of the vote.
Okay.
However, on the website, the ASUS ROG Ally took 77% of the vote. And
See,
there were
that's what I thought, like overall.
Slightly
Yeah.
more votes on the website as well.
Wow,
So really
okay.
I'm disappointed.
You're disappointed? You really, listen, maybe next year, the new version of the MSI
It's
Claw.
so interesting because, like, if you look at our YouTube
Yeah.
comments, I mean, there were a lot of people who are like, oh, I like the size and
Yeah.
form factor of ASUS. But then a lot of people were like, oh, you guys are just ASUS fanboys. Like, MSI has, like, the better hardware. It's got the bigger screen.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm going to spend that money, why wouldn't I get the best performing one? And that's where I'm coming from.
Yeah, no, I get it. Again, objectively, the MSI Claw is the better one. I actually recently wrote an article, like the top 3 handhelds I recommend. And for Windows, I chose the MSI Claw. But listen, the people have spoken, so you just have to deal with it.
I need to hear back from you guys. I need to understand why you voted this way.
Yeah, let us know in the comments.
So I think the new Claw A8,
Yeah.
which is going to be its successor, or maybe not exactly its successor because it's going to the Z2 Extreme.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
So it's almost like it's going to be like an adjacent lineup now because
Yeah,
it's not
because
the
they're
AI
not getting rid of this.
We don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if there's
Oh, you
going to be
don't? Okay.
an exact successor to this right now.
Yeah.
I don't know if MSI is going to continue with Intel. I certainly hope they do. And MSI, if you're listening, please do, because I think we've shown, not only from us, but the audience is very interested in something like this with similar performance.
I think that with this, they proved that Intel is viable for handhelds, so it would be a shame if they just stopped that cold.
Yeah, they're this week alone, there was an update to this that brought even better performance and efficiency.
Yeah.
So it's even better than the Z2 Extreme.
Yeah, so even though we're gonna have a machine with Z2 Extreme, it would be nice if we have 2 options.
But if you're waiting for the MSI Claw A8, which is gonna have the Z2 Extreme, so it's gonna be more on par with these two a little bit, more of like a direct successor to that in a way, with the newer hardware. I think that's coming out in the US Still, we don't really have an exact timeline. I think it's going to be closer to end of September, maybe early October.
Yeah, something like that. And don't ask us about prices. We don't know that either.
We don't know that yet.
So yeah, MSI Claw, you're great, but better luck next year, buddy.
On to the other side of the bracket where we have the battle of the SteamOS devices, the Steam Deck OLED and the Legion Go S with SteamOS. The Steam Deck is almost a couple years old now compared to the SteamOS version with the Legion Go S. But with this configuration, the price points are almost $200 different. Tony, you're the champion on the Go S, so do you think the audience has voted it to the final?
Even though I wanted to make it to the final, I have a feeling that it's going to be the Steam Deck, just like with the ROG Ally. It's been around longer. There's a lot of love for it. And as we talked about in the last episode, it has an OLED display, which could just make it the winner. So very curious to see what you guys decide.
I'm not so sure about that.
Let's see about that. Hey, listen, I want the Legion Go S to win, but I think the Steam Deck OLED might be an upset.
So, after tallying the votes across the website and YouTube, with a narrow 56% of the vote,
It's gonna be that one.
the Steam Deck OLED knocks out the Lenovo Legion Go S on
Okay.
SteamOS.
Okay.
Look at that. I'm, again, not surprised.
0 for 2 today.
Yeah. Look at that.
0 for 2.
No, I understand the people, man. I'm not surprised. Again, these are the longest running handhelds. Obviously, the most updated version of the handhelds, so I'm not surprised at all.
So what do you think has people still siding with, older hardware here? Do you think it's the screen, the form factor, the price?
I think it's the price is obviously a big one, and I think the display is also another one. And it's also word of mouth. Like everybody's heard about Steam Deck, so it's going to be the first thing they think of.
It's kind of like the OG.
Yeah.
I mean, it is.
It is the OG. It is
Yeah.
the OG. It's also, let's just be honest, kind of a popularity contest.
Yeah.
The Legion Go S is objectively better in terms of like hardware and all that stuff. But, it's still new, very expensive, as we talked about. Might even be more expensive by the time we do this video. We don't know with all the crazy prices. But you notice with Steam Deck, for the most part, prices have remained consistently the same.
That is a good point. But at the same time, they've got like the older hardware, so
Yeah,
maybe
older, yeah.
they're not as impacted as much. I got to ask you this. So
Yeah.
I would imagine you're happy either way, because both of these.
I mean, I'm a stand for SteamOS. So.
Last time we did one of these, you were all about the Steam Deck, and now we've got Steam Deck basically 2 with updated hardware. But if you had to put one of these through, which of the two would you prefer?
Yeah, I mean, I personally would have picked the Legion Go S with SteamOS. It's literally the handheld I've been waiting for, as I talked about. Ryzen Z1 Extreme, SteamOS, perfect combo. But I kind of know what most people like. Again, like price in the end kind of determines things, but you're still not really losing out. You still get a lot of great games to play on it. Very portable, very light, and that OLED is gorgeous.
What was the actual voting breakdown here?
On YouTube, the Legion Go S got 65% of the vote, so our video audience is much more in touch with kind of what you guys are saying, or particularly you, Tony. But again, on the website, which did get more votes, 69% to the Steam
Wow.
Deck. So.
One thing I'm noticing, and I want your thoughts on this. It seems that YouTube viewers generally want like the beefier console, whereas the users on Tom's Guide want the more the more affordable one. That's what it seems like to me.
I wonder if maybe the Tom's Guide website audience is more mainstream. Maybe that's a way to put it.
Yeah. Because if you're watching a handheld video, bro, you're probably pretty hardcore. You're right about that. The Tom's Guide readers favored the legacy ones, the Steam Deck and the ASUS ROG Ally, whereas the YouTube comments went with the more recent ones. Very interesting stuff, but regardless, thanks to everybody who participated. So even though we love the Legion Go S, it is time to go.
So there it is. It's all come down to this. Representing Windows, we have the #1 seed, the ASUS ROG Ally X, versus our #2 seeded Steam Deck OLED running SteamOS. Who could have predicted?
Voting for the final is open now. After this video, head over to the post tab in the Tom's Guide YouTube channel to cast your deciding vote for the winner of Handheld Showdown 2025.
Now that we've got our final 2 handhelds, what more can we say about these devices? So why don't we instead show you? We've picked out 3 games that we're gonna run benchmarks on head-to-head to see which device performs better. First up, let's refresh ourselves with the specs of these 2 configurations. When it comes to design and display, first off, dimensions are very close. Weight with the ASUS ROG Ally X, we have 1.49 pounds. The OLED's a little bit lighter at 1.4 pounds. For display, 7-inch full HD, 120 Hz with the ROG Ally X with an IPS display. On the Steam Deck OLED, we have a 720p display, but it's OLED with anti-glare, so a little bit better outdoors.
So inside we have some differences. While they're both using AMD APUs, we have the Ryzen Z1 Extreme and the ROG Ally X, whereas we have the custom AMD chip of the Steam Deck. And we also have more RAM inside the ROG Ally X, 24 gigs versus 16. Storage is the same, 1 terabyte, so it can fit a lot of games. And the other big difference, obviously, their operating systems. We have SteamOS versus Windows 11.
And then probably another big deciding factor is battery life. So with the Ally X, we're packing a larger 80-watt battery versus just 50 watts on the Steam Deck OLED. And of course, pricing, $649 for the Steam Deck OLED, $899 for the Ally X, so that's pretty substantial right there. So to make things a little bit more fair, obviously this does have a 1080p display, so we're gonna drop it down to 720p, so it's apples to apples when we're running these. Up first, we've got Cyberpunk 2077.
Benchmarks are a go. So on the ROG Ally X, looks like we're averaging 48, 50 frames a second. Sometimes it goes up a little bit. I'm not surprised by this.
I'm already disappointed. I'm barely getting 21, 22.
Ooh, that's
oh,
pretty
wait,
brutal.
I had 23 for a second.
Hey, there we go. That is choppy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Not great.
What did you get, Paul?
Okay, an average. You want to guess what the average was?
The average, maybe 25 frames a second?
24.
24, okay. So on my end, let's see, want to guess?
42.
No, it's 56.
56 as an average?
That's an average. That's amazing.
But this is the point that we've been trying to prove the whole time. You have extra performance with the newer hardware.
Yeah.
Like if you're playing a lot of AAA games, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot by getting this older system right now.
People like that OLED.
Yeah, if you like a beautiful choppy graphic, sure. Let's say we kept this at 720p and we put this back up to 1080p.
I think this would probably be slightly above 30 frames a second, maybe 40 frames a second. It would definitely take a hit, but I still think it would
Super
outperform.
smooth still.
Yeah. It would absolutely outperform the Steam
This
Deck.
you'd probably even have to drop down to maybe 540, and I mean at that point, what are we doing?
Yeah, what are we doing? Yeah, that's OLED can only make the screen look so good, you know? All right, let's move on to the next game.
So again, 720p, low settings. We're playing the Reckoning level. I recently played this game all the way through, super fun, but one thing I did notice is the game is super well optimized.
Yeah, like I still think Ally X is going to give better performance overall.
Things are looking good on my end so far. I'm hitting consistently an average of about 31 frames per second. I don't think I've seen it dip below 30, so that's really great.
Yeah, on my end, I'm getting pretty close to 60. It's like hovering between like 56 right now. Sometimes it went up.
Do you see
62.
what you're missing out on?
Yeah.
As I'm looking at this, like things on low settings are not, I mean, it's looking pretty mushy.
That's the thing. It's a trade-off, right? It's like, yeah, you get the, the contrast of OLED, but if you don't get solid frame rates,
what's the point?
Yeah, no complaints on my end. This is like looking great, running fantastically.
This looks like a game out of 2006 for me right now. But the benefit, so like we're not just talking about, okay, it's 30 frames per second versus 60. Because you have that extra headroom, you can bump the settings up to medium, maybe even some high, and get those sharper details.
Yeah.
Whereas with this, you're at the max that it can do.
You're at the max, yeah. It's aging hard.
It's already maxed out.
Yeah, we've got the results. All right, so what did you get? Actually, wait, let me guess.
Okay.
30 frames a second.
Almost 35, just under 35 for average.
So over here we got an overall of 65 frames a second, which is really good, and a max of 142. So, but average, little over 60.
That's great.
That's fantastic.
That is great. Yeah. This is an example of a really well optimized game. Cyberpunk clearly wasn't, even though that title's also really old. So when it comes to newer AAA games, especially ones that are a little bit more demanding, you're probably not going to be having a good time on the Steam Deck OLED, despite how good the screen is.
All right, so let's get to the last game. Okay, so we're looking at Dirt 5, older game, 5 years, but it's as old as Cyberpunk. This game is overall pretty well optimized, so I'm almost at 50 now.
This is the best performing one so far. I'm at about 45. I'm guessing you're probably at like 65, 70.
Yeah, 75 right here.
This is the first title that we've tested where I actually have a little bit of that headroom. If I wanted to go up to medium, maybe even high, I can, push the graphics a little bit more and still probably maintain closer to 30 frames per second.
Yeah, like on Cyberpunk, you couldn't do that at all. You were already like topping it out. When you're playing on a handheld, you would want to maximize it, but you're okay. Not only are you going to get like kind of bad frame rates, but the battery life is going to take a huge toll. So, when it comes to optimization, what I typically like to do is, if it's possible for the game, I like to set at medium graphical settings, 720p, so I get a good mix of like video quality and performance. I generally don't like putting it out low because the texture quality starts looking bad, but generally speaking, medium settings, graphical settings, and 720p. But if there's headroom, I will try to bump it up to 1080p if the system supports it. So
okay,
what'd you get?
Impressive. I got an average of 53 with a minimum of just under 30. So that's pretty good.
That's pretty good. Yeah. Over here on the Ally X, we got an average of 74, actually almost 75, with a minimum of 49. Even the minimum is playable. That's great.
Yeah, considering that your minimum is almost my average, that says something.
Shows you the power of the Ryzen Z1 Extreme.
So with all three benchmarks, the Ally X really puts the Steam Deck to shame. In terms of performance, you're getting nearly twice the frames per second in a lot of these titles. And at the end of the day, that's what an extra $250 gets you. You have the better performance from the CPU, you have the extra headroom from the 24 gigabytes of RAM versus just 16 gigabytes. Yes, you do sacrifice the screen quality, but if you're like us and you play primarily AAA games, maybe having a nicer display isn't worth the sacrifice of worse performance, honestly.
Yeah. It comes down to what you value most. You value picture quality or performance.
I'm gonna say, I would not play Cyberpunk, I would not play Doom on this.
Oh, wow.
You couldn't pay me enough to do it. Low settings just don't look great, and the fact that I'm barely getting 30, I mean, that just feels like a really big sacrifice just to get a nicer display.
Yeah.
I'd spend the extra $250.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. If you really value performance the way we do, the $250, well worth it.
Well worth it. Okay, so we've been on quite a journey. We've gone from 8 devices down to 2 while giving you every reason why one of these handheld deserves to win this year's competition. So who's gonna be crowned the winner? It's all in your hands. Check out the poll posted in our YouTube channel and at tomsguide.com to vote for which device you want to win Handheld Showdown 2025.
Keep the comments coming as well. Are you as shocked as we are? It's been great to interact with you and see all the discussion happening. Don't forget to come back to the final episode of Handheld Showdown. But until then, you can find us everywhere at tomsguide.com. And you can follow Paul and I if you want to see some of the cool gaming tech we've been checking out. That's it for us. We'll see you next time. Later.
Oh, Tony, you have to do it from the desktop?
Yeah, because it's Windows, your favorite operating system.